call a meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I ask for a moment of silence, please. Okay, thank you. I even marked it in yellow. I can't believe that. Roll call. We'll start with Commissioner Stephen.
Here.
Here. Culberson. Cos.
Here.
Here. And Commissioner Smith.
And here.
All right. I don't believe there's anybody for comments today. So that's okay. We'll move on. With administrative business, we have certified August 3rd election. Mark, I want you to know I put it down yellow so I wouldn't miss it.
Okay.
Yesterday.
Yes.
Morning.
Hi.
Morning.
Well, we'll need a motion for the board to go into acting as the Board of Canvassers for the August 3rd primary election.
Motion for the Board of County Commissioners to convene as the Board of County Canvassers.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Mr. Stephen?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Good morning, and thank you guys.
Good morning.
We had the election last week. Also, you were aware that we chose two different precincts, one in Leavenworth City and one in USD 469 to perform a manual audit on. That was Lansing Ward 2 and 3rd Precinct, 5th Ward. We did have 4 individuals come in that were not part of the office staff and perform that audit. And it did come out with the exact findings that were indicated on election night. So that was good news. We have to always submit that audit findings to the Secretary of State's office, which they in turn okay and allow me then to proceed with the canvass. Overall, we had a 13% turnout in Leavenworth County for our 2 precincts. I have given you each kind of a summary sheet indicating the number that voted advance, which means in the office, election day, late mail, and we remember that late mail is any ballots that come in from election day through Friday that are postmarked on election day or before, or ballots that are turned into the polling place on election day. We had 20 of those. And then the group 6 that you see that have the 333, that was mail that we received in from the advance ballots that were sent out through the county clerk's office. Each of our precincts had a poll book. I reviewed each of the poll books, and they also balanced with the findings that were reported on election night. We had all of the Leavenworth City precincts vote, and the 4 Lansing precincts, along with High Prairie 469 voters, Baser Township 469 voters, and Delaware 469 voters. Do you want me to go over each one of these individually, or is the summary sheet sufficient.
Self-explanatory to me.
Looks sufficient.
Looks
Okay.
sufficient to me. I just wanted to make sure I'm looking at this right. So this says the total voter turnout was 13%.
That is correct.
And that's just 13% of the registered voters. So
You can-
not everybody's registered, right?
Well, that is correct, but I think the report I gave you was, it was a good report because on it showed that we had a total of 28,413 eligible voters. Now, of course, countywide, we have over 50,000. But just in these two precincts, we had the 28,000. So the 13% is 13% of the 28,000. We had, what does it say? 3,709 voters. So,
So 13% of the registered voters decided the election.
For those,
Don't you
That's
think that's
terrible.
about right?
Yeah.
About
But that's
87% of the people complain.
I know that's-
13% vote.
People get out and vote. Jay. Anyway, good point, Jeff.
lots
I
of
had a
complaints.
question. Janet, did you get, I mean, you had it looked like 20 votes that came in on the mail till Friday, but do you typically have one or two ballots or that's actually hits past that? I mean, how many would you say that would be?
yesterday we received 5 ballots in the mail.
Okay.
But we could not accept those.
So I just wondered what numbers that would be.
Yeah, even up until, it's surprising, I bet you for a couple of weeks, we may get 1 or 2 more ballots.
That were still postmarked prior to the,
Well, not always.
okay.
I'm not going to say that, but they will dwindle in 1 or 2 more. So, anyway. The other thing that I do not do it until after I have the approval of the Board of Canvassers. We had 16 total provisionals for this election, 10 of which I recommend qualification. Out of those 10, the people moved within the precincts that were eligible to vote, and so of course those are able to be counted. We had a name change, someone got married, they were previously registered, so of course that was also accepted. I had 6 that we did not accept. The reasons for those were never registered, and so we, through election standards, cannot qualify those. We had 1 person that registered after the close of registration. Voter registration always closes 20 days prior to an election. This person was not registered prior to that. And then we had 1 person that had moved but went to the wrong voting place. Now, most of the time that would count, but where they moved to was not in either the city of Leavenworth or USD 469. So we could not count that one. So what we do here is I will take these 10 qualified, or what I recommend qualified, down and run them through the machine, run you one final report that, as the Board of Canvassers, you will sign off on to certify this election. So, is that all right? Okay. It will take, there's only 10, so it will just take me maybe 10 minutes, if I can have 10 minutes.
Do you have to have a motion from us to accept
So
that?
we'll have that motion
at the
once.
end. Okay.
All right. Thank
Motion
you.
to return to regular session.
Yeah,
Do we wait till she comes back, or do we?
Return.
You can, it'll take about 10 minutes.
You can adjourn as the Board of Canvassers and resume duty as the Board of Canvassers. And go back as canvassers.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Move that we adjourn as the Board of Canvassers for the August 3rd primary election and return to regular session.
Second, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Stephen?
Yay.
Aye.
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 Very good. Okay. Learned something there. Okay, continuing. Mark, anything else administrative
I
business?
did have one other item. I just wanted, since Bill Knoll had to be up here anyways, I wanted one other item I was hoping to just quickly update the board on. And since he's much more familiar with it, I'll let him probably do most of that. And that is, we had solicited proposals for the comprehensive traffic analysis of all the studies that are out there. And those were opened last week. I should say it was opened last week. So I don't know if Bill wanted to set in.
Morning, Bill.
Me being me, I'm always concerned that when we only have one to
That's what I
choose
said. When
from.
you said it, we only had one proposal.
And I prefer that at least two, preferably three, when we're doing these kinds of things. The committee hasn't reviewed it yet. Bill's on that committee for the county. I thought it might be good to get a little bit of feedback from the board on how they prefer we proceed with that before that committee meets.
So just a little history on the RFP process. We did originally send out the RFP to the 10 qualified in-state firms, engineering firms that were on Kdot's list of study consultants. We had a pre-qualification meeting, which was attended by only one of those 10. There was another firm from Kansas City, Missouri, who had heard of the RFPs going out and also attended that. Because of the low turnout, we did then send it out to an additional 8 firms. So in total, we had sent that out to 18 of the firms on Kdot's list. Of those firms that we did not send those to, the majority of those were located far out of state. A lot of them are just large, super large engineering firms in states like Arizona, New Mexico, California. And so we did concentrate on the 18 firms that were either in the Kansas City metro area or the state of Kansas originally. And we did receive the one proposal back. It was a collaboration between 3 groups. One of those groups is not on the KDOT's pre-qualified list, and so I don't know how KDOT will weigh in on that selection process. They were Vario, JEO, GBA. And so GBA is not on that list of consultants that's pre-qualified with KDOT, and they are one of the 3 partners that were part of that proposal that was submitted. So at this time, I don't know what KDOT's position on that matter will be, since they are funding more than 40% of the project.
What kind of time frame are you looking at where we need to have this done?
It wasn't the entire process.
We really needed to have somebody on board.
In the next 45 days, we needed to have somebody on board in order to meet the 1-year timeline that we had originally set forth. We can always just move that timeline back. That was a timeline that was self-imposed.
Okay.
We created a timeline that was part of the proposal process that was about a 13-month process, because we wanted to try to hold this to as close to a year as possible. We landed on, after review by Mark and KDOT, we did end up with a 13-month process. That 13-month process could start at any time. So if it were to be sent back out again, we could start that 13-month process from the time that we do have a firm under contract.
Any idea why we didn't get any more interest?
Well, we do have 2. Staff has reached out to, some of our engineering staff has reached out to some of these firms, and we do have 2 meetings set up to discuss that. I don't know here today what those reasons were, whether it's the 13-month timeline, whether there was some issues with the scope that they had concerns with. Overall, I think it's a fairly narrow field of people who are involved in these type of projects, but I know we did receive initial feedback from HNTB that stated that they like to start the process 6 months in advance and form a team that works with the county or the city or whatever public entity is doing the study moving towards the preparation of their proposal. But in most cases, that you would need to do that with all firms to have that be fair and equal. We do intend on sending this proposal out to the selection committee today for their review and their analysis. But like Mark said, I think it's important that we establish a position here today and provide some direction to me as the representative as to where the county stands in the matter.
So if we went back out for bid, would you then have time to follow up and see if the what is it, HBA or the one that you said wasn't on the list, what the state's position would be if we accepted that?
Well, the state would
GBA?
really
Is that the
GBA? We will reach out because there's the head of their study division that works on their studies, such as the regional study that we're talking about, is one of the members of the committee. So he will receive this packet today. I would assume that they would need to speak to their legal counsel or whoever makes that decision with Kdot as to their pre-qualified list and how that umbrella of consultants under. There are two of the three that are on the pre-qualified list, and so they could be acting under the direction of the other two. That might be a acceptable format for Kdot. I don't know. I can't speak to that.
My opinion, I think it needs to go back out to solicit some more.
Yeah.
If we could get two, it'd be great. If we could get three, it'd be a lot better. But if we could get five, it'd be really good. But I just would feel more comfortable. Maybe broaden the scope of the search or something.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I think we should wait till you reach out to those couple and ask them what the issues were. Maybe that'll give us some.
But we can still go out and just broaden it, maybe outside of the state of Kansas a little bit.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Does anybody else, Vicki or Mike, y'all have
I don't like doing it with the. There's a lot of questions with this one too that I have is about whether it will be accepted or not. So I think we should go back out.
If we go back out, what kind of timeline will you recommend?
But before we go back out with what's proposed now, what if we wait till after he talks to those couple firms to see if the issue
we
is
still have
time?
to go back out.
Right. I agree. I'm just saying.
Well, I just want to make sure we make the deadline. That's my concern, is to get that out.
He said he could move the deadline.
Well, the deadline's self-imposed. No one actually put in place a deadline. It was more of a guideline for the consultants to consider when they're preparing their RFP. We will have to send this out to the selection committee in order for them to, I guess, weigh in on it from each of the city's perspectives. But I can take the voice of the board to that selection committee.
When are you meeting with those two companies?
In the next week.
In the next, I kind of followed what Commissioner Culberson said. Maybe we should have you come back because maybe there's some parameters that they're wanting to change, or
Like with the Millwood Bridge, we found out there was a couple things we needed to change before we went back out.
so maybe we wait till you talk to them and then come back next week and.
What the changes that are made need to be acceptable with both Mark and Kdot, since they had reviewed the proposal in all the cities. But specifically, Mark and Kdot had weighed in heavily on the preparation of that proposal document, and it followed their guidelines. Since Kdot is putting out significant funding for it, so we need to make sure whatever changes would accommodate some of these other contractors soliciting a proposal would be within the guidelines that Kdot would be acceptable with.
I think that's a good approach.
Yeah. So once we find that out, then go back out. Like Doug said.
Need a motion on that, or is that just consensus?
Come back next week.
Consensus, I think.
We don't need a motion on that, do we?
I think we're
Mark?
just
Since we're
consensus.
not making an actual decision, and it's fine.
We just gave them direction. Okay. Thank you, Bill.
All right,
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Let's go ahead and
Yep.
get done.
Well, let's
All right,
reconvene. with
you ready to
Jan.
return?
Yeah.
It don't
Go ahead,
matter.
Doug.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I move that we return To adjourn as the Board of County Commissioners and return to the Board of Canvassers to certify the August 3rd election, 2021.
Motion and a second. Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
Culberson?
Aye.
Connors?
Aye.
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 Smith. Okay, we're back.
We ran the 10 provisionals through. It did not make any difference to the top 6 candidates in either race. So now we have 3,719 people that have voted to, it increased us to a 13.09% turnout. So I'll need each of you to sign these.
0.09.
And then to have a motion to certify the election.
Is this one, just the top one?
Just the top one, please.
Okay. I did it there.
Okay.
13%. Oh, my goodness.
Do you expect a different, like in November, will that ratchet up a little bit?
Of the registered voters.
Well,
Yeah, I know.
So really less
I
than
don't-
probably 10% of the people.
I don't feel that overall the percentage will go higher due to the fact that it's countywide this time. And a lot of our school districts don't even have races. You know, one person filed or else, even in some of our smaller cities, no one filed. Oh, it's going to be
Linwood.
write-ins. But anyway, so due to that, I do not expect that the turnout will be any higher. Overall.
Next year will be a different story.
Yeah.
And you're liable to see some really late mail-ins coming in if it's the same time we mail out our notices.
That's true.
It's going to be about the same time.
It will be.
Mail carriers won't like us.
Okay.
So please
Thank
make a
you.
motion.
Someone give me a motion.
I didn't know you
Motion
were
to-
standing there waiting on me.
Just make a motion to certify it. I
Motion
don't know.
to certify the 2021 primary election for the USD 469 Board of Education and the City of Leavenworth Commission.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
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 All righty.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you,
Good
Janet.
job as usual. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate everything.
All righty. Mark, do you have anything else?
No, we got to close.
Oh, yeah, we got to close it. All right, it's
Oh.
always jumping ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I
Thank you,
move that
Mickey.
we adjourn as a Board of Canvassers and return to regular session as a Board of County Commissioners.
Second.
Motion and second. Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
Culberson?
Aye.
Collins?
Aye.
Smith and Smith.
Aye.
Aye and aye. Okay. Keep me on my toes up here. Okay, Mark, did you have anything else?
No.
I have one
County
thing.
Commissioners, go ahead.
This is for the commissioners. We're all aware of the redistricting meeting on Friday. For the last 2 redistrictings, Leavenworth County has had its senatorial district split. We have enough citizens in the county to have our own senatorial district. We are divided between Douglas and Leavenworth County, and we're divided between Wyandotte and Leavenworth County. So I just was going to throw it out there and for discussion whether we should write a letter and urge the redistricting committee to create a senatorial district for just Leavenworth County.
Should we wait and see what this meeting looks like Thursday?
We could.
Because, 10 years ago, this was talked about too. Maybe third time's a charm. So we don't, and I don't know, do we have these census
Not yet.
numbers yet? Because I'm really concerned about how accurate that's going to be with the pandemic last year.
I was told that the census data, we're real close. It's like within the next few days it's going to be released.
All right.
But and we don't have to and we could ask him to craft the letter, but we don't have to have it. We don't have to give it to them by Friday. But I just thought I'd put it out there for discussion.
Well, it's been talked about for 10 years, and I don't know. After the last census.
Yeah, for Vicky, any comments on that?
We do have
I think that's a good idea.
population. Am I correct on
Yeah,
that? We do have the population.
Well, assuming that the
Numbers don't
we
go
do
down.
now.
Yeah, I don't see
I
that.
don't think we went down.
No.
Yeah, I
You
think-
okay with that?
I have no problem with that at all.
Okay. All right. We'll wait till, we'll get the letter or start to craft
And
the
we
letter.
did get that placed on the agenda in case any
Yeah.
of the commissioners wanted to be there, even though we can be there
Do
as
it on
citizens,
Zoom,
but just,
can't
yes,
we? Do it on Zoom.
however we want to attend. But
Okay.
That's at the Riverfront Community Center,
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Okay. Very good. Any other kind of commissioners before we move on?
Oh, we all got an email about the RV deal with the construction workers already coming to town looking for a place for the RV, and we've got the park that we're talking about that's zoned for RVs, and I didn't know if there was any, I guess that's a question for planning and zoning, is there any special temporary use permits to allow that this park is ready to go, and we're just waiting on it to go through the county bureaucracy. It's zoned. It was spent. We spent a lot of money on the company that done the plan for rezoning the County Road 1 corridor. So,
What is the demand for it? Do you know how many?
well, no, I just know they're moving dirt as we speak,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're getting ready to. And there's been some.
I mean,
Obviously, there's somebody's reached out about being able to park on some
letter too.
RVs.
Mark, David?
So we have discussed this after seeing the email. There's two challenges. One, the reason we're making the change that's going through the process right now that will be approved probably in September at the Planning Commission and then to the Board of County Commissioners later the same month. So we're probably 45 days away from making the change that needs to be made through the right process. Short of that, the reason we made that change is because it requires a rezoning the way it sits right now. Once we make the change, it will no longer require rezoning. So there's no process to grant a temporary rezoning of a property without the proper notification for the people within the 1,000 feet. So there's no, I believe I'm not speaking out of turn if I read the emails correctly, there's no good way to do what they've asked other than just wait the 45 days and let the process that we've already set in place happen.
what about just temporary special use?
Plain old
permit?
SUP?
That could be explored. There is no way to circumvent the rezoning statutes. However, the rezoning statutes do allow a temporary special use permit, and we can look into that. I cannot guarantee being successful as far as granting whatever desire the commission may have to accommodate that request and doing it lawfully. But I'll look into it and have a report to you next week.
Yeah. I think that's important.
Just a regular SUP, is that what you said, Mike?
Well, a special, temporary SUP.
Yeah, right.
And the problem with government sometimes is it works really slow, and they need to have,
Well,
Fast
they
answer.
only meet once a month.
yeah,
So if somebody falls through the crack and didn't get notified, then it gets kicked to another month.
exactly.
And I think that's what we're here for, is that when that does happen, we have to be able to look at it and say, how can we fix this to take care of this special circumstance? So, David, if you'll report back and that's everybody's okay. Okay, that's a good point.
I'm just looking at the
timing.
Oh,
coming
absolutely.
into the Tonganoxie area.
Absolutely.
And the uptick in the sales tax, and
It's a timing issue.
it's just a timing issue.
It really is.
It's the largest investment ever in Tonganoxie. And
Again, that's what I think we're here for, is to make sure these things don't slip, so I'm glad you brought that up.
but there's also KOA just down the street in the other county.
Yeah, and they may share, who knows? We'll wait for the report back from David if everybody's okay.
All right.
Okay, any other thing from the county commissioner?
No, sir.
Okay, the consent agenda, does anything need to be pulled off? Okay, get a motion on it?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Motion and a second, any discussion on that? Mr. Stephen?
Aye.
Comerson?
Aye.
Cos?
Aye.
Smith, aye, and Smith.
Aye.
All right, thank you. formal board action. Bill?
All right. Today, for your consideration, we have the approval of an agreement number 231-21 with Kdot for the High Risk Rural Roads Program Award for Tonganoxie Road, County Route 5. It is Kdot project number 52C 515901. As you guys are aware, we previously had accepted the notification of award. This is a formal agreement that outlines the cost of the project and the 90-10 matching obligation that the county would need to meet. Kdot has estimated this project to cost $1,651,000 at this current time, and they have allocated $1,486,062 towards the cost of that project. This leaves the remaining 10% balance required of the county of $165,118. As you guys know, this is a project that is 1.1 miles in length, extending north from the northern city limits of the city of Tonganoxie towards Stranger Creek. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions?
I just have one kind of esoteric question on page 7, this whole surveillance deal where they say you can't cooperate with these companies. You know what that's about?
Find what you're specifically referring to.
It's number 4 on page 7. When I read that, I just thought, well, that's interesting.
Again.
It references a specific company.
Right. Do you know why they did that,
There's
or
a federal
is there a lawsuit? Or
bar doing business with that company, and as much as I believe federal funds flow into this project via Kdot, that's the reason that prohibition is contained in the agreement.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was any. I just didn't know what the background of
That's
that
good
was.
information to know. Okay.
If it was maybe they were involved in some espionage or
Technically,
something.
it probably has nothing to do with the road engineering, but I believe it's there for safety's sake.
Okay.
Any more discussion on this one?
Just that this was supposed to have been done with the 2006 sales tax,
Yep.
and it didn't get done. And it's supposed to be, the road was supposed to be improved from Tonganoxie to Leavenworth, so the voters are going to get a piece of it anyways that was promised to them.
It's a good thing.
Yeah. You ready for a motion?
Yes, sir.
In my area. So, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agreement with Kdot for the high-risk rural roads for the Tonganoxie Road Safety Improvement Project.
Second. A bunch of seconds. Whoever. Pick one. Any more discussion?
This is a really good thing. I mean, this is of the things that, and I give Bill a lot of credit,
Absolutely.
but we had so many. We looked at where the actual high risk locations were and where there had been a lot of accidents, and this is going to help keep a lot of people safe.
The biggest look is where the money's at.
Yeah, this is a
Get the
great.
money from.
This is funding was
Matching
unbelievable.
the grants, that's where it's going to pay for.
90-10. I like it.
But we appreciate everything you're doing, and thank you for this.
That's what he's trying to say in a roundabout way. Okay, we'll go ahead. Mr. Stephen?
Aye.
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 All righty. Thank you, Bill.
All right, thank you, guys.
Consider a motion to approve board order 2021 fee granting disaster relief tax abatement for homes destroyed by fire for properties located at 21337 Road Prairie Drive and 20317 Eastern Road, and authorize the chairman to sign the relief determinations. Morning.
Morning. This board order is for the Board of County Commissioners. KSA 79-1613 allows County Commissioners to abate property taxes for homestead destroyed or substantially destroyed due to earthquake, flood, tornado, or fire after January 1st, but prior to August 15th. This lies solely with the Board of County Commissioners' authority for structures that were there January 1 and destroyed after the January 1st. And we have two properties. They were both 100% destroyed by fire. You see, the first one was, our house value was $171. The cost to repair and replace was $277,900, and the second one was at 0317 Easton Road was $164,910, and cost to repair was $275, so $500. So that was 100% repaired. The abatement percentage is based on the date of destruction, so we prorate those taxes based on as the date of the disaster off for the rest of the year. That is for 2021. For 2022 next year, it'll be whatever's will be valued whatever's there January 1st of 2022. So if they haven't rebuilt anything, there won't be a house there. If they've rebuilt something or partially complete, it'll go on as partially complete.
So, yeah, I just had a question, Bob. So if the house is unlivable, but it's still standing, do you put any value at all on the house?
It depends as to whether we determine it's fixable or not.
So if
I mean, a house could be unlivable but not cost a lot to repair.
and that's my question.
You
Do
know,
you put some value? So
we could have some value on it. We could look at it as unsound, but still have some value on it.
Okay.
But if it looks like it's beyond repairable,
so you do.
then we would take it off. Even if it's still standing, we could take it off the tax rolls if we don't. We make determination it doesn't contribute any value to the property.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, if you just zeroed it out or if you did put some value on it, depending on what's there.
Okay, any more? Get a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the disaster relief tax abatement for the two homes destroyed by fire. You need the specific addresses or anything in the order of tax ID?
Yeah, I'd go ahead and read them into
board
each
order.
other.
Okay, tax ID numbers 1-00210 and 1-0064 with board order 2021-3.
Okay.
Second.
Motion is second. Any more discussion? Mr. Stephen?
Aye.
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 All right, very good. Thank you. Let's move to the next one. Consider a motion to approve the contract with the Council on Aging and Terry Booker for nutrition services and catering for fiscal year 2022 through 2024. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Today I bring before you the contract to approve between the Council on Aging and Terry Booker. As you know, Terry Booker's been our contractor for the previous 5 years, and this contract is for the next term, which would be fiscal years 2022 through 2024, automatically renewing for 2 terms. Successive terms after that, unless either one agrees to terminate. Mr. Booker has been an amazing partner over the last 5 years, and especially during the pandemic.
Yeah.
We've needed to nearly change everything about our delivery, and he has come through for us every time. This constitutes about a 15% or 15-cent increase per meal. This is the first time he's raised his prices in 5 years. And considering the amount of work that he's doing, we're seeking approval for that contract today.
Vicki, Mike, any? I'm very pleased.
So is everybody else.
Thank you.
If not, I'll take a motion.
I move to approve the contract between the Council on Aging and Terry Booker for the nutrition services and catering for the fiscal year 2022 through 2024.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion on this? Mr. Stephen?
Aye.
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 Very good. Thank you, Connie.
Thank you.
We're not too hard.
This one was easy.
Two more of those, Mark, like that, okay? Okay. Presentations and discussions. I think we got quarterly reports. Mark?
Commissioners, we have 2 quarterly reports today. The first one would be the County Appraiser's Office. Mr. Weber.
Welcome back.
Morning again. So through July 22nd, the appraisal staff inspected data and data entered 3,174 parcels that we visited. So far, 519 of those for building permits, 1,175 for sales validation. We have to inspect all properties that have sold, and 1,480 for our annual reinspection. We have about 3,800 parcels left. We begin that process in May. Generally, the reinspection, we're required to inspect 1/6 of the properties, or visit a property every 6 years. So we break that down and try to be equal as possible from year to year. We have received 1,122 sales for the first 6 months of 2021. This compares to 829 from last year and 878 from 2019. So we got quite a few more sales this year. For the first 6 months of 2021, I put down there, these are average sale prices for these areas. I did the county, just the whole county as a whole, of $245,000 for 548 for 2020 and 266,091. That represents an 8% increase from last year, from the first half of 2021. And then it goes down the list there. And those were increases last year, were big increases from the year before. So sale prices are increasing dramatically. Number of building permits. I just skip ahead a little bit here. For 2021 was 185 for new homes. And you see the previous years there, and we're up there. So we're inspecting quite a few more properties. Is increasing our workload in our office. Increased market activity, increased building has increased the workload in our office. The number of sales, analysis of a trend. I put the second method there. If you compare a property that sold twice over a time frame, now in this case we're using 3 years of sales from 2019 through 2021, throwing out those sales that have been remodeled and in between the two sales, and those gives us an indication, a trend of 7 to 10% in the county, most of it being around 9-10%. That's over a 3-year period. If I narrow that down, you drop out quite a few sales in an analysis if you take off 2019 year. But that number jumps if you're just looking at last year to this year. It's around 12 to 15%. So if you take out the 2019 year. But you have quite a few less sales in your analysis at that point. Covered the number of building permits for new homes. And then here, the other is a ratio. So I put in there as a sales ratio, and just trying to drive point through what properties, what's going on in the market is. This compares where our value's at, compared, established January 1, compared to the sale prices this year, just this year. And the state of Kansas does this on us, and we have to follow generally from 90 to 110% our median ratio. These are our median ratios, or below that at this point. If 87%, 89% now, we do have the opportunity to prove a trend to the state that sale prices are increasing, and they will trend those sale prices back to January 1, which would then increase these ratios. But they won't do that unless you use those trends in valuing for the next year. So it doesn't get you out of anything, you still got to use those trends going forward. You still have to raise values to reflect what's going on.
So basically, this is saying according to the state, we're praising a little low.
Yes, but we're not the only county in that.
Well, Lansing,
Everybody's in that boat right now. That's because of what the market's doing.
It's crazy.
If you look at just June and July numbers, we didn't have all July's sales worked. That number drops to about 81%.
Oh.
Mr. Weber, I noticed there wasn't anything from Easton or Lansing or Linwood on here.
Yeah, sample size is pretty small.
Okay.
On those. I might have a few in Linwood. Easton, some years you don't even get a sale, some years you get a couple. It's too small of a sample size to really, it's going to jump around quite a bit.
Commissioner in that area can do something about that.
And they get the Dollar General in over there.
That's what we keep asking for. You're welcome, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate the fact that, Bob, the state allows you to be 10% plus or minus from what the sales are, and you're nailing 10% below what you're required to do. So I don't know how much extra effort you put into that, but I really appreciate that that's how it come out.
You're nailing it, Bob.
Way better than
With
10%
the
over.
increases in the housing prices, I don't know how you can do it. Continue to do it.
Yeah.
Sooner or later,
Going up.
You're always you're always using past data, so you're always kind of chasing it.
I know, but the stuff,
He's
the
good at
prices
what he
we're
does.
seeing,
And they're there. Yep.
they're real.
That's why I'm tired of people.
Man, I know you don't hear that a lot from the public because they don't feel like that, but
Yeah,
that's really what the
exactly.
numbers are. I mean, he's keeping everybody at the bare minimum
Yeah, it's a good point.
of the state requirement.
I was going to ask you a question on this building permits. It looks like in 2021 it went to 185, but we had the pandemic in 19 and 20. I'm wondering if that 185 number might be a little high because people delayed construction, and maybe that's going to drop back.
It's possible. I think,
But 2019 and
builders are,
Was
with
pretty-
with the market as strong as it is.
If it stays
people
up
are
at that level,
building
that's
as-
really a
I can't
fast
believe
pace.
these numbers with the lumber prices the way they are.
yeah,
These numbers are
Starting to come down.
incredible. They are, but for the last 6 months, I can't believe these numbers.
The interest rate.
Those are
Driving this train.
just building permits issued.
that doesn't mean that
Doesn't
they're doing
always
anything.
result in
New
a
homes.
house.
Still, it usually takes lumber, whatever they're doing.
I guess I have heard that a lot more people are during the pandemic have been remodeling.
It's gone on remodeling. We really noticed
But
it's
you gotta
really gone on for
buy
a number
lumber to
of years
remodel.
now. And you can really see it.
Yeah,
So,
it's
People
unbelievable.
staying home. They're going during the pandemic. They had time.
look at
Theater rooms.
Yeah.
And a building permit only
Exactly.
lasts so long.
Okay, any more questions?
Nope. Thanks,
Appreciate
Bob.
it. Thank you, sir. Council on Aging again.
Welcome back.
That's a tough one.
Probably.
No.
Go ahead.
Well, for the Council on Aging, we continue to meet and exceed the goals that we're setting there. So a couple goals that we had early in first quarter were to get as many folks vaccinated as we could. We took almost 1,000 calls from folks to fill out the online form, those 65 and over, and took about 329, give or take, trips to get folks vaccinated. So we charged $1 round trip, no matter where you lived in the county, to get those done. Folks called us quite a bit. So we added about 61 riders that continue to ride with us, and then just about a month ago, we received a check from the state to support those vaccination efforts. So we received about $9,000 that more than took care of the price that we reduced for the transportation trips, and that came out as a wash to do that. We also partnered with Jamie Miller. We called every one of our homebound seniors that we knew of and asked them whether or not they were interested in the vaccine, and then Jamie and his crew went to them to give those vaccinations in their homes. So
That's
we
fantastic.
tried to take care of everyone that we knew of
great.
and to get that done if they chose to have that done.
Yeah, that's going way and above. That's great. That's excellent.
And then to have those funds reimbursed, even better.
What program was that reimbursed those funds?
It was called VAX 5 funding that we received from the state of Kansas.
Do you know if that was federal pass-through money or
That's a good question. I don't know that exactly.
Well, it's all federal.
It was part of the CARES. Yeah.
that's good.
One of our other goals was to safely reopen our doors to activities. We'd been closed to all activities up to April. So since April to today, we've restarted about 60% of our activities. Had a couple big events. We had Senior Day at the fair. I think it was 112 degrees that day. It felt like it. And had 130 people come out to that. But we also have been making significant strides to get the southern end of the county engaged with us at the Council on Aging, those in Linwood, Tonganoxie, and Basser, as well as in Easton. And so we had a survey that we gave out about activities that folks would want to participate in. We had about 300 responses to that. We were super surprised that about half of those responses were online via a Facebook link that we had out. And then about half came from the southern end of the county, which we usually get a trickle of responses from folks at that end of the county, but they came through this time. So we've got lots of results to analyze about fun new things that people want to see us doing there. Our Meals on Wheels program continues to grow. We have just completed a project revising every one of our meal routes and adding more meal routes. We're adding a third meal route in Easton. We're going to add a fourth meal route in Tonganoxie. We've received also some additional funding from Meals on Wheels because of the incredible growth that we're experiencing there. The other thing that we do annually is reassess everyone. We pushed some folks to homebound delivered meals because of the pandemic. So we're reassessing those folks to see if we can't bring them back to a congregate site in the fall and reopen those sites to cut down on the number of folks that we have getting homebound meals. Unfortunately, health has become a big issue there, and a lot of the folks who were pushed to homebound because of the pandemic will remain homebound. But we turn about 100 people a month attrition. We lose 100 people to nursing homes, to death, to moving, to in with kids, and we add 100. And that's a startling figure when you think about the number of people who need that. And, with the youngest of the boomers turning 60 this year, there'll be more and more. So
60's the new 50.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to say 40.
What's for lunch today? I don't know. That's a good question. But all those
Do they deliver to the courthouse, David?
Keep bringing that number down. Go ahead.
And then the first week of July, we went to a choice of delivery. So we'd been doing all contactless delivery. Now, if we have a chance to enter someone's home for a second, if they're okay with it and tell us that, we'll be masked, of course, just so we can get eyes on environments and things like that and take the best care that we can. A couple other things that we're doing. When I arrived at the Council on Aging, one of the things that we talked about was leading with yes. So how can we best partner with folks in the community? Let's not say no. Let's take a look at it. So we revised our tax program. We did taxes for about 424 people, and those are free, all volunteer based. For that program. And so just by rethinking that program a little bit, getting the word out, that increased quite a bit. We started partnering with the Deeper Window Alzheimer's Association, and so we provide transportation. The folks in that program pay for that, but it provides 3 hours of respite for caregivers of folks with Alzheimer's. So Let's Roll with Sister Vicky is the name of that program. Those folks go out on a 3-hour field trip, and other caregivers get 3 hours of a break. So that has been a really amazing partnership with Elaine Bellardo at the Deeper Window. I mentioned Senior Day at the fair. We had about 130 people. We did our first ever event in Linwood. World Elder Abuse Awareness Day allowed us the opportunity to get out there to talk about internet scams, phone scams, things like that. Linwood wanted to participate in that, so we took that show on the road with the sheriff. We did it also in Tonganoxie and also in Leavenworth. So it's the first time that folks could remember doing that kind of program in multiple locations around the county. So we were super pleased about that. And then, of course, we have greatly enjoyed the design process with Cushing, and continuing to move in that direction, to be thinking about a new building and new spaces. And
It's kind of exciting, I know
yes,
what you're saying. Yeah.
So looking forward to that. And staff has been involved with that from the jump, so everyone's on board and looking forward to that.
Great.
That's
Connie,
it.
did you switch out all your vehicles yet?
Not all of them, so we're
Still
just
waiting?
over half.
Okay.
So we're waiting on that, what is that microchip processing piece that
Yeah.
to get the ones that we ordered in late 2020. But I think we have maybe 5 or 6 we'll get this year, and then we'll turn 3 over in 2022.
Okay. We'll be glad to get rid of that aging fleet.
Yes. Yes, so we talk a lot about the GPS and those things. We're 99% safe drivers, according to my
Awesome.
dashboard. So we drive a lot of miles and take a lot of care to do that.
That's good. Any more comments for us?
Everything just can't wait for them to get a facility.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about that.
Get the rest of their vehicles.
Yeah.
Vehicles has been an issue for years with council.
Well, we love the new ones.
Heading in the right direction. Glad to
Yes,
hear
Heading
that.
right,
you.
there you go.
So did you have big fans at the fair?
Not
the day you were
enough.
there?
I think we had 5 or 6 big fans, but boy, it was hot.
Yeah, I couldn't make
Yeah.
it that, but because I was up here, but I thought, man, it was hot.
My hairdo lasted 5 minutes before the ball cap went on, and but it was good. We had a great turnout.
We couldn't convince Chairman Smith.
I drove by and waved.
He didn't even roll his window down.
I waved at everybody.
What was great about it is some of the seniors only had to walk from their fifth wheel, 10 feet into the tent. So it was not too bad. But they had a great time, and we're so glad to be back.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
All righty. Any additional comments before we ask Mark or David? You guys anything? Okay. County commissioners, Mike, do you have anything?
Oh, let's see. I did have a couple things. This event yesterday, the International Military Students Honorary Citizen Day, and Commissioner Michael Smith, gave the speech for the county. And I'll tell you what, I went down to the breakfast and they had like the meet and greet, and you got to meet the guys, gentlemen from I learned a lot, and I met a lot of really high quality people.
Yeah.
And it was a fantastic event.
And the way they do things in other countries, stuff like that, it's just fascinating. It was my pleasure to do that with the other reps. So it was a good time.
Thanks, Mike, for doing that.
I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for attending that.
You know, Mike?
We met with the KCC representative on the Atmos, and there's a letter from Atmos that will be coming forward, but didn't have time to get that to you. That may require more board decisions, discussion.
They got some new staff.
But, and the gal that we talked to was like, what was it, 2 months?
Yeah. She's going to be getting back information we pass along to y'all if there's anything else they can do or we want to do. I'll reference that.
I just hate to see a utility leave the county.
And we made it clear.
Yeah.
We sure made it clear. especially down south where it's growing. Anything else, Mike?
I don't think so, but that's it.
Jeff?
I've got Easton Township meeting tomorrow night, and I'm also meeting with Mayor Baser tomorrow and Mayor Lansing next week.
They told me about that.
And also, I've found somebody for the planning board for my district. They got their application turned into planning and zoning, so I'm just waiting to make sure they've got everything they need before I can appoint him, probably next week, to the board. That's all I got.
Vicki?
Listened in on City Commission last night and have the development LCDC meeting tomorrow. And we'll be attending Friday morning's meeting at the community center on Friday, and participated in a Zoom meeting for the workforce development this past Monday morning. That's it.
That's enough. Thank you, Vicki. I attended the Lansing City Council meeting last meeting, presented them with a check from the county on that design from McIntyre, 50/50. To say they were appreciative is an understatement, and to show that we're reaching out to all the cities and the unincorporated area for trying to assist any way we can is something that I'm very proud to be part of that with y'all. But anyway, it was a good meeting. I presented that. So, Doug?
Just have Baser City Council tonight, and tomorrow night is the ribbon cutting for the new elementary school in Baser. And then probably going to try to attend Norm Bauer's retirement at KAC. He retired actually last year.
I saw that.
During the pandemic.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
County roads and things. Really good man. He's a real interesting man to talk to.
You know, it's always a shame when we lose people. Well, everybody gets to retire, but we just like that because the knowledge and things that they take with them is just unbelievable, especially when they're a good person overall anyway. Anything else, Doug?
No, that's it.
Okay. So nothing else, I'll take a motion. Unless y'all want to stay here.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. I got her going. Motion second. Measure Stephen.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.